If y'all haven't heard, which I'm sure you have, there was a leak from the Supreme Court that happened, I think it was early last week or mid last week. I don't remember specifically when it happened. And it was about Roe v. Wade. So, quick backstory. So, right now, the Supreme Court justices are deliberating, arguing, whatever, came together to talk about the Roe v. Wade verdict back in whatever year it was, whether or not they want to reverse it. There was some controversy when that initial hypothetical was released, but it wasn't too much controversy because they didn't believe it was going to happen. Well, fast forward now, the leak happens, and it shows how, I think it was Alita, showed how their opinion on the Roe v. Wade, and basically shows that it's in all likelihood gonna get reversed. I think right now it's 6-2 or something like that. There's 9 justices, correct? So it's 6-3. First off, it's unprecedented that there was a leak from the Supreme Court justice, because that's never really happened, even though in the past few years there has been an increase in leaks in general. So that's in a way not a shocker. It's just kind of shocking that it happened with the Supreme Court. Go on and say, you got a little joke? Go on, let us spit.
It was a that's what she said type joke. It was not worth it. You just said leaks all over. Just go for it.
Perfect topic to make those little jokes, huh? Anyway.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No. Okay, I'm back.
You back.
Straight face.
Leaked to Politico, and we're not sure who leaked it, but there are some theories as to the purpose of the leak. We got 2 different theories, one being a right-leaning and Republican conservative theory, and one being a leftist, liberal, progressive theory. The theory from the right side of the hemisphere is that one of the leftist judges leaked it because they want to get the narrative out there to promote protests and all that kind of stuff. I'm trying to contain my bias, guys. I'm sorry. I'm trying to pick my words carefully here. To facilitate protests because they want to fight this. And then the other side of the sphere says that Republican might have leaked this because they're trying to hold the 6 votes accountable. Like, if they change their vote, we'll know.
You mean for the same reason?
Whatever. Yeah. It's dumb in my opinion.
You seen that meme of Spider-Man pointing at himself? Another Spider-Man.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then it sounds like both parties got what they wanted if the conspiracies are right. And this
right.
is out. Yeah.
The reason why this is gaining so much, I guess trending so much on the internet is, 1, because of the leak, and 2, because of the protests / riots that have been ensuing from it. So I made a low-key joke on Twitter on my account saying, we're back at it again. Let's start this. Here we go again. Let's go riots.
Let's go riots.
Has anybody actually rioted? Like, have any cities actually rioted?
I mean, to the degree of riot, like, people have been going out.
I've seen a lot of mass protests. Yeah,
protesting, and then obviously when it gets late at night, some things get out of hand, but not to the point of what we
saw last.
Exactly.
Like 2020.
Damn, it's so hard for me to. I keep forgetting
You're
the topic because jokes keep going in my head.
Bro, just spit them, man. Come on.
God, if they rioting, I'm just gonna say the crowd that would riot from this, the George Floyd crowd. I'm gonna say I think the George Floyd crowd might beat this crowd. I don't think if they riot, they can break a window. I think it's a whole bunch of the little kids on the skateboards that we've seen dressed in all black, and a whole bunch of people who may be cosplaying as Barney at one point. I don't know. I just don't. I'd be interested in what type of riot they would have.
That's why I didn't want to use the word riot earlier, because I'm trying to, it's been protests. They've gone out to, I think right when the leak happened, immediately the Supreme Court house was fenced off. I think one of the judges, I forgot which one, they went to their actual, I think it was Kavanaugh, went to his actual house and started protesting outside of his house. They're trying, I guess on the right side, trying to claim they're trying to influence the justice's opinions, which is obviously a problem. You shouldn't do that kind of thing where they're trying to have. I guess the question I want to pose to you guys to get this conversation started is specifically about Roe v. Wade, because my thing with this is I personally don't understand the backlash of if the Supreme Court does reverse Roe v. Wade. I generally don't understand the backlash, because literally all it will do it will go back to the states. If states want it legal, like California, it will be legal. If states want to make it illegal or some kind of restrictions, but to get the point across, illegal, some states will make it illegal. Like I don't see the issue here, because clearly there's two different sides of this. Why does everything have to be federally? And I'll shut up and let y'all talk.
No, you're fine. I don't have honestly. I don't think that most people know that if Roe v. Wade is stricken, that it will go back to the states. I don't think a lot of people understand it that way, because before today, I did not understand it that way. So, I mean, it may be egotistical for me to apply my level of thinking to the general masses, but I do not believe they think of it that way. They think that it being banned is like a federal, almost like the opposite.
Yeah, they think if... From my understanding of how the protests, and this is my interpretation of the protests, so I could be misrepresenting them, is it seems like they think the reversal of Roe v. Wade means like abortions federally are illegal.
Correct.
No, that's not how it's like. Just no.
I do understand the idea that it's going to go back to the states, and so it's not like, I guess to an extent, as severe as people just assuming it's like federally illegal across the board. And then what was the other thought I had? It was like they're going to ban it. They're going to leave it up to the states. It was just a draft, so it's not actually something that's happened yet. So a lot of people are preemptively like attacking it before it's even like considered and stuff like that.
Well, there has been a second leak. I should have pulled it up so we could apply that to the conversation.
Okay,
but
because
there
I
has
hadn't
been a
heard
second
any of
leak
that
confirms like the leak is true. That it's right now it's gonna be reversed
So wait,
so far.
the person leaked it, and then everybody was questioning the leak, and then said they came back and was like, no, I leaked the shit now, and. Come on, son, that's wild.
So it's even beyond the draft. Like, it's for sure, like, gonna happen. Like, how do they know that yet?
It's not that they for sure, but it's
just like it's going through the step. Because I could imagine that there's several things that are being drafted that, you know, the judges are gonna be like, nah.
That is true.
Yeah, I feel like this is just one thing, but it does happen to be a hot topic. So
yeah.
When I saw it, and I was like, oh, that's kind of fucked up. And then I saw it was just a draft, and I was like, it's slightly less fucked up, but I get, like, you know, they're probably just spitballing, and I get that, like, them spitballing affects everyone's lives. That's just kind of where I was like, okay, cool. Like, my immediate, like, tension went way back down. My issue with them sending it back to the states is that some of the states at that point can enact zero tolerance, and that might be troublesome for, like, you know, women.
Move to a different state. I understand the issue. I'm not trying to discount that issue, but I just... And I mean, you guys should know me by now. Like, I just don't like federal law, federal mandates, anything federal. I think we always come back to this. My instant question always, why does it have to be federal? We're not a democracy. We're a republic. We are not a dictatorship. We're not an empire. Like, we're none of this. We are a collection of 50 states that are cohesively coming together to make this work. If one state wants to be different than another state, let them be. Why does
it's because it's kind of difficult though, man. Like, think about it. Like, okay, let's say like you're first generation American, like for whatever reason, what have you, like whether it was legal or illegal, like you're first generation American, you don't have the funding to build another life, or even sometimes to even venture to another state to get this done, let alone spend time to go through the process of getting all that.
So you want the whole fucking state to change for you? Instead of you inconveniencing yourself to better yourself? That's
but my issue is that you have to leave at least some kind of opening so that there's like some benefit for you to actually stay where you are and make it possible to not go through with something that you're not prepared for or like you don't think should happen.
I don't agree with that.
Like the heartbeat law. Like the heartbeat law. You said it yourself. Like the 3 weeks to you seems reasonable, right? Once this gets reversed, the heartbeat law can go to no weeks if they really wanted to, because it's up to the state completely.
Yeah.
And so at that point, it's literally just completely illegal within the country. Even the small margin of time frame that was given that was considered to be reasonable doesn't have to be anymore. And so that's like a huge issue. Like,
the heartbeat
not everybody
was a state
has
thing,
the
not a federal thing.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, once they take this away, they can just go and amend that law and be like, oh, well, we originally wanted no weeks, but we had to give something, so we gave 3 weeks.
Oh, who cares? Let them. If you don't like it, then move to California where you can abort the baby after birth if you really care that much about it. Like, just go to where you want to go, where your morals
you're
and
talking about uprooting people economically and like socially. Like,
why are you living somewhere that doesn't represent your values? If you're living somewhere and your values aren't being represented, then move somewhere where your values are represented.
Emotions, like people that you care about living in one state that you want to stay with. Like, dude, there's other reasons to be in a place that make it more tolerable. You know what I mean? Than having to be like, oh, I immediately have to stand on this fucking hill because this is where I want to die, so I'm gonna go live over there and just die on that hill.
So I'd rather change an entire state to fix my needs instead of me just uprooting myself to go to another state that already has my needs. I don't get that. I understand it's an inconvenience. I have family here. I have friends here. I have whatever you said, all that. I get that. But if it's easier to just move, it comes with its sacrifices, it comes with its difficulty, but if it's easier to just simply move from point A to point B that's more aligned with your values and morals and all that other stuff, do that. I generally don't understand why it's so hard to conceptualize moving. Why do you have to force a state to change if the state doesn't want to change?
Everybody, it's just
forcing everybody.
It's forcing
everybody. It's not forcing everybody.
It's just to leave a margin for yourself. Like, you have a vote. Do you not have a vote?
So when does it not become selfish then? But that's but this is why this conversation or this opinion kind of annoys me, because you're okay with mandating it federally, which forces everybody under one way of life no matter where I move, instead of letting it be up to the states where they get to choose where they want to move. So in one way you're forcing someone to live somewhere.
Like, has this really affected you? Like, this isn't really.
But that's not the point. But that's not the point.
Like, dude, the thing about it, though, is that it opens up the door, at least a window, for people to be able to do things. And that's what's the issue.
Yes, exactly. In both directions. You can either have it completely legal or you can have it completely illegal. Sure. Okay. What's wrong with that?
My boy.
Well, why not just leave it, like, marginally open?
Hey, Ethan says...
Sure, some states will have some restrictions. All right, here, let's go to Ethan's comment, then we'll come back.
Ethan says the original ruling was considered a judicial overreach by the SCOTUS. The states were always supposed to have the primary power to create laws governing the citizens.
Facts.
Abortion is argued that it is part of the unenumerated rights, while others argue that it is not, because unenumerated is supposed to cover all, not just part of the population. I was just reading what my boy Ethan had to say. Chiming in for my boy. That's it.
Honestly, come from the other way, man. Like, I don't understand what's wrong with like an umbrella rule. That's just like, oh, okay, like that's just the way. Like, we're just gonna kind of all
slippery slope, my guy. Everything.
I know, you're genuinely afraid of it, and that's why you don't like it. But like, sometimes it's just like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, okay, like there's this just general rule. At least it's not even like a full hard rule. It's just a guideline. Like, you know, Texas was still allowed to basically close the window as much as it wanted to, so that it was still feasible for at least some people, and at the same time, it still appeased the majority of the people within it. It offers a middle path, and that is why, like, it can be important. Like, it definitely does depend on the way the situation goes. I just think that, like, Roe versus Wade, yes, doesn't completely close the gap for it, and I think that's okay, man. Like, I don't mind certain states being strict, and if people don't like the strictness, then they can leave. But at least, like, for the people that, like, are unable to leave, there is a margin for them to be able to do whatever they need to do.
No.
I disagree, man.
No,
like,
move.
No.
If you're in a state that doesn't support your morals or whatever, why are you there? Like, that, my issue then comes down to California. People who move from California to Texas who want to turn Texas blue. Why'd you move to Texas in the first place? There's a reason why you left California. Fucking stay in California. Leave the fuck Texas alone. That's my extreme example of that. I get that the extreme take is legal to illegal. It's terrifying to think of abortion as being illegal when there's certain minor cases of things. I get that. Some states will have those restrictions. Move to those states then. But for people who have the extreme opinion of make it completely illegal, if they have that extreme opinion, they'll move to those states. There will be ranges of states who make it some type of legal and some type of illegal, and some make it some type of legal and some type of illegal. There'll be ranges. It's not going to be black and white as California's it's legal no matter what, and in Texas it's illegal no matter what. That's if you want to add nuance to this, there are going to be restrictions, like the heartbeat bill you referenced. The heartbeat bill is 3 weeks. Yes, the striking down reverse and row might give them the ability to make completely of no matter what.
Can I ask two
That's
questions?
hypothetical. But right now, all it's doing is giving the states the ability to apply restrictions. Because if we want to get into the abortion argument or debate, which I'm not trying to do honestly, there is a very clear disconnect to what, one, where life starts, and two, when, I guess, just pretty much life, like when is it alive or not, and is it a human being or not? Like there's very two hard different sides to that, those questions, to this discussion. Why are we making it federally to where, like, no, this one side is right? We have no solid evidence for any of this, but we're already saying this one side is right. Make it federal. No. Sorry, go on.
May I ask two questions? One, I guess you guys kind of covered it. Roe v. Wade being stricken, does it make it illegal? It doesn't make it illegal to have abortions, does it? Just like you said, goes to the state.
It makes it for the doctors to be illegal.
Dependent on the state.
What it does, it holds the doctors accountable. So, for example, with the heartbeat bill, is the people who want abortion. So let's say a woman goes into a clinic and she gets an abortion. The woman will not be charged with anything. It's the doctor. He will be charged with, I don't know, let's just to get the conversation going, like homicide, murder, like malpractice, whatever you want to have you. He's the one who will suffer all consequences. So the point is deter any kind of doctor to perform abortions.
Got you. And then second question, in the draft that was leaked, did it have the other people's opinions in it as well?
It was just elitists.
So why do we know it was 6-3?
Some more information that come out. I can't tell you the specifics honestly, but
that's why I was wondering. Like, did we get that from the draft that it was 6-3?
No, I haven't read it because we saw it was 90-something pages. 98. There you go, boom. So I'm not sure if there was other information that alludes to that, or if they're just making it because they're 6 conservative and whatnot. They're just making that assumption. I generally don't know.
So that number itself isn't like part of a leak. That 6-3 is just hearsay at this point.
Maybe.
Okay, cool. I didn't associate it, but I always thought it was part of the draft for some reason.
Yeah,
that's all I wanted to know.
I mean, it's still a draft, so unless it actually goes through, it won't really hit the fan. But I mean, it's already kind of getting up there. We'll see how they do it. I mean, most states are, from what I saw, protesting, at least like the liberal areas, because for the liberals, at least for the ones that think it's like black and white, they're going out there and they're upset about it. I don't think it'll pass, but I mean, I haven't been keeping up with it because I read it and I was just like, dude, there's no way that'll pass. Like, part of my question too is why Roe v. Wade was even passed in the first place. Like, why that? I don't remember the case. Like, I know I read it, but like, I mean, I read every day, so it's just like I don't remember why it was
under
considered...
the 14th Amendment.
Yeah, here we can pull it up real quick. I got it on the side if you want to pull it up real quick, Ian.
They used the 14th Amendment to...
But I don't understand like why the justices
don't
were
worry
like,
about it. If you close it
what
out,
was
don't
the
worry about
situation that they were like,
I'll summarize it real quick.
The right thing to do.
So there was this woman, I think it was Jane Wade, I think that was the surname they used. She got pregnant with the third child and she didn't want it. And
Jane.
She sued I forgot who it was, but obviously Wade. I think he was the I forgot who the person was, but they sued Wade because it was her right to pretty much get the abortion. And she, I think, initially lost the court, then went to Supreme Court, and eventually she won underneath the 14th Amendment for right of privacy, medical privacy. So that's pretty much what the Roe v. Wade thing was like. You have a right to medical privacy. So whatever you do, decision, blah, 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 privately, the government has no say in. That's what it's saying.
Would a loophole be like you can just go to that state and then fucking get the
like getting vaccinated?
Yeah, and then be like, well, whatever. Like,
no, I'm right there with you, bro. I'm right there with you. Trust me. That's why all this whole conversation is funny to me. It's so funny. It's so funny where we apply this and where we don't apply this conveniently. It's so funny to me.
But that's the argument, right? When people are saying like my body, my choice, and then it's both people, like somebody are saying with the vaccine, some people are saying it with abortion.
Yo, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in. This podcast is sponsored by Angel Blinds, a local Atlanta area small business. Their blinds help you get a new look for your living room, to your bedroom, to your dining room. They even got custom kids blinds with their favorite superhero or princess. Use our promo code FDT. Our audience gets 10% off their first purchase. You can find them at Facebook at Angel Blinds or Instagram at Angel Blinds _ between Angel and Blinds. So check them out.
Yeah,
I honestly think both
facts.
people have the exact same point, and it's just like if the anti-vaxxers don't want to get vaxxed, well then maybe the abortionists should be like able to choose whether or not they want it. I mean, guaranteed. Like, I do think it's a little different because abortion can lead to degeneracy in some ways, like especially if they just fucking keep doing it.
What
So
was
I
that
understand
number?
regulation on that.
What was that number, Doc?
5. Yeah, 5 is good for me. It's not that degenerate, man.
That's pretty degenerate, bro.
So
It's pretty degenerate. I'll
Dude,
go.
five.
I'll go out there and down this hill. That's pretty degenerate.
nah, it's
2, 3,
fine,
4,
man.
5.
For the fifth.
You went past a hat trick. Come on now. You going for a record at that point.
No,
But-
I definitely don't think like it should be completely closed though for people even in states that are stricter on it. Like I
That's
understand
up to the
that
states.
like it's up to the state, but I mean at that point like think about California. Like California wants to pass that law where like if you move out of the state they still tax you.
That's
Like,
wild. Fuck,
If
no.
if the state does that's up to the state. Like do you want the federal government? The federal government doesn't have power.
Whoa, 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 whoa,
The state
whoa,
does
whoa,
it.
excuse me,
I don't
excuse me,
matter.
How
excuse
does
me.
it?
No, rewind what y'all said. Rewind what y'all just said. Wait, so hold on. So if you're born in California, you got to pay a California tax for the rest of your life? Is this
No.
I
essentially
don't
what
know
you're
how
telling
they
me?
did it, but it was
California
just a
move.
draft as well. It was something that Gavin was
But
trying to pass
But
because
that makes no sense.
a lot of not I wouldn't even call it brain drain. It was more like just like really rich people were leaving California.
Yeah.
At the beginning of like 2020 because
Yeah.
it was just turning into a shit show.
Yeah.
And so many rich people and like CEOs and like industry titans were leaving the state, and he needed to figure out a way to keep money in there. So one of his proposals was to tax people on the way out, to charge them basically to leave. And that was like fucked up, because nobody wants to pay to fucking move. And
could you
so-
imagine? Could you imagine going to
You
a
know
club?
what? I'm okay with
paying
it.
to
Good
get
luck,
in.
Californians.
No, could you imagine going to a club, right? You pay to get in, right?
Consistent on that,
You get a
for sure.
section at the club. You get bottles. You get whatever it is. You eat food. You get hookah. All of this. You pay for your tab. You tip the bartender. You walk to the door, and security's like, "Yeah, I need
Your exit fee.
20% of whatever that just was that you spent tonight, and I just spent all the cash I had. Am I now stuck in this club?"
I honestly don't know how they collect. Like they would probably go after your assets that are in the state. And they're
Man,
like, all right, well we're taking one factory from you.
you know what? I'm a agree to not agree, but at least concede that to Doc. You're right, Doc. Let California do that. States have the right to do something. Good luck, Californians.
But that's
never
what
going to
I'm
California.
saying though is
Go
that
for
like
it.
if you completely leave it up to the states and they pull some bullshit like that, like California is one thing and we know that like California.
At least it happens only in California instead of mandating it federally, and it happens the entire country.
But what I'm saying though
Even
is
if they're
that
trying to tax the sun.
there are 50 states and one state sees them do that. Why wouldn't another one decide to also do the same thing?
If it
And then-
works, sure.
I'll shoot the
Sure.
sun, Ethan. I'll
If it's
shoot that
working,
shit down.
sure.
But
If
then
it
it gets
doesn't,
weird
no.
at
It's a
that point,
bunch of
it makes
experiments
sense.
going on. Yes, I'm all for that.
At that point, though, it wouldn't make more sense to just have a fucking federal law that says
No.
like, nah, none of that shit.
No. No.
What? That sounds
No.
ridiculous to me, man. Like
No.
at some point, I think like there is some justice.
Jumping
in
immediately
having...
to a federal thing sounds ridiculous to me. We have 50 states for a
26
reason.
I mean,
Let
yeah, it
them
doesn't
do what
come
they want to do.
immediately.
Let's see if it works or not. If it doesn't work, well, guess what?
26 million.
I guess
But,
y'all
like,
can continue to try to make it work. And if it
Dude,
does
Roe
work,
versus Wade went and started at the state level and it made its way up. That's why there's that process to get to the Supreme Court. Or then at the Supreme Court, they decide supremely what's going to go across the board. It doesn't just happen overnight. They don't just walk into the Supreme Court when an issue starts.
but that's why they're trying to argue if they want to reverse this, because they're trying to see if they overstep their bounds, which, I mean, in my opinion, they did. But they're arguing it, so we'll find out. I think, like you said, you don't think this will pass. I think it will. I'm okay with it, because let it go back to the states. I don't understand why we need to federalize everything. Why do we got to make these roundabout rules for people who we don't agree and people who do agree? Like, I don't get it. Like, clearly we're different. If anything I showed you in these past 5 years, 2016, no, it's actually been 6 years. These past 6 years, we are different. We are different. We are divided. So if we are so different and we are so divided, why are we trying to make federal laws for everybody? Let it go back to the states. Go back to the states. Move to the state that best represents your values. If it's going to cause you some kind of back turn or whatever, that's a bullet you got to take.
I feel like that's deconstruction, man. Like I understand the fear
Gotta
of
happen.
supremacy and stuff like that, but it's just like, dude, somebody's trying to hold the ship together. You know what I mean?
And
Like,
it ain't
there's 50
federally.
states
It ain't
together.
federally.
What are you talking about? That's the only power that can. Like
That's
the only ability that can try at least. And
I don't
I
agree with that
understand
at
the
all.
tiptoeing of the fucking path to it because you don't want to just completely fuck everyone over for one issue. At the same time, though, like you also need to enact things in order to hold the framework together.
See, this is scary to me because federal government was never supposed to have the amount of power that it has when it comes to anything,
So
specifically in
does the
regards to this
Constitution not mean
legislator.
anything to you? Like, does the Constitution not really matter because it's up to the state's constitution?
What?
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you need to have some kind of overarching, like,
So the-
ruling,
Yes,
or at least some
okay.
overarching guidelines in
Okay.
order to be able to
We
work
have
together
that,
to
the
hold
Bill of
framework
Rights and all that.
together.
Okay.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, does that
Gene said
because
that's
it
the
is
last federal
federal
document.
document? Does that not mean anything to you? Do you only listen to the state document?
So we have the Bill of Rights, the Constitution that we all abide by. Yes. My issue is when we try to make these superficial little amendments to these documents. For example, the Roe v. Wade was, I guess, passed or whatever you want to call it underneath the 14th Amendment, this whole right to privacy thing, which is sure, like if you want to make a decision, you're allowed to make that decision. But if states want to make that decision complicated to, I don't get this point across any more eloquently, but if the states will make it more complicated for the doctors to make that performance, sure. Just like you said, if California makes an exit tax to make it hard for Californians to leave, sure. If people don't like it, they'll stay. If people do like it, they'll leave. It will affect the state to the point where they need to change.
I would have shot the sun
If
down.
we have a
we all
set of
got
rules
no
for
son.
everybody, the Bill of Rights, then that's the rules. Those kind of rules honestly should never change, should never be like those rules are the rules. The problem is we're constantly trying to change the rules. We're constantly trying to reinterpret the rules. We're constantly trying to extend the rules. So like that's my problem. The rules aren't the rules. The rules are fluid. The rules are subjective. The rules are on a spectrum.
The Constitution, this is Ethan's words, by the way. The Constitution is not supposed to tell us what we are granted. It is supposed to tell the Fed what their limits are.
That's actually fact. True.
But it's a guideline,
feel
man.
like
I
that was
do
a drum
think that
mic
like
for
there's
Ethan.
at some point as you play the game, like you come up with fucking issues. You just need to fucking deal with it, and like that's
Not
what the Supreme
federally.
Court does.
30
And
minutes.
the federal government should not tell you what those issues are and how you should handle those issues. Let it, at the very least, the states. I don't even like the states doing it, to be honest with you, but at the very least, the states, because it's close to home. If I don't like you, I can go there and tell you why, or I can vote on it, or I can have it passed because it affects me and my community. I don't like federally because someone in California doesn't like how I'm living in Georgia, and now they want to pass a federal law to affect how I'm living here in Georgia. No.
Damn.
No.
We do love people from California, though.
But shit like that's happening all the time, which is so annoying.
Don't worry, I got
When was the
People-
last time that happened, dude?
What do you mean was the last time that happened?
30 minutes.
Yeah, what was the last time a law like that was passed that affected you?
Not a literal law, but the
Y'all gonna laugh at this next topic. You're not even gonna believe the next topic based on what the hell we talking about right now.
we'll use the literal one right now. The abortion thing. It made it right now. I guess full on sweep abortions. I'm reluctant to say legal, but it just made abortions more accessible. That's what's happening right now, and how it personally affects me. I mean, I haven't gotten an abortion, nor, as far as I'm concerned, a girl I've been involved with got an abortion. As far as my knowledge, if they have, that affects me. But the effect comes down to my personal beliefs, my personal morals. It's forcing me to live in a country who has a way of a standard that I do not agree with. That half the country either does or half the country doesn't. So, like I said before, why not go to the states?
But then at that point, like you're arguing the same thing that you were telling me. It's like, why not leave? Like there's other countries, so like why not move somewhere that
Facts.
completely
Why
fits
not?
with what you want
Exactly.
to be?
But the problem is this was an overstep. The difference we have is you're okay with federal and I'm not. And that's the only difference. Like I don't like federal, and I also don't understand your whole point of how does this affect you? How does this affect you? How does this affect you? Like what point are you trying to make there?
Well, my point is that for one, you're not a woman, so you don't have to deal with most of the brunt of this.
That's wild.
I mean,
that is
should
wild.
you be?
That is wild. Finish your thought.
Well, why? Because why is saying you're not a woman wild, man? Like you're not one, so you don't have to deal with 80% of the situation that's coming from this law. So you would only have to deal with the 30% and the emotional aspect of you wanting to maintain a child because of your belief system, which is totally, that's on you. That's your opinion and stuff like that, and that's the way you choose to live your life. So you would benefit the most from marrying somebody that agrees with that, or just even dating or at least getting into whatever fling
this
with
is
somebody who agrees with
wild.
that. But you're not actually having to make that call for the most part. So like.
Facts. I agree with you. That's an issue. I personally, to bring up another issue, I think it's an issue that men don't have a say in abortions. I genuinely do. But if you're completely transparent and honest, you're right. I don't have a say, and I think that's fucked up. If I was with a woman and she got an abortion and I had no say in it, I think as a man, if I got a girl pregnant, I should have a say in whether or not that baby gets aborted or not. And I don't right now in this country, as it stands, have a say.
I mean, you don't have the majority shares, bro. Like.
I supplied half the DNA.
I don't think we
I
can
supplied
monetize
half
this
the
video,
DNA.
can we?
But you didn't put in all the work
I
for
don't
like the 8
think
hours.
this
You're not going to put in the pain at the end
is
of it. You know what I mean?
monetizable.
Like,
So that
that's yeah, dude. In a weird way, like I'm not gonna have to deal with it. I just kind of had the pleasure part, and that's all I had to deal with. So I
Wow.
mean, she's gonna have to deal with the other part. Where,
Bow.
you know what I mean? She's gonna have to deal with the other part initially, and then even the fallout for the rest of it and stuff like that. So I mean, to me, I at least cannot completely take it off the board to be like, oh yeah, like let's just completely take off abortions and stuff like that, because something in me needs to be like at least a little considerate in that situation where it's just like, that ain't me. I can't decide that decision. I can probably help maintain some restrictions and stuff like
I can't
that
decide in that decision.
push
I
into
don't
it, but I
understand
can't.
that.
Because, dude, I'm not the one doing it. Like, that's the thing. Like, if I'm actively doing it, then hell yeah, it's on me.
Bro, that's
I'm
bullshit.
the one
in
who's
my
taking care of
opinion.
that.
That's bullshit. Okay, then I guess my question for you, and let's tie this, have this discussion be the end, because we kind of talked about this longer than I wanted to and dove a little deeper than I wanted to. So my question for you then, and it probably doesn't, but this is a question I'm generally curious about, is for me the reason why I have this opinion is because of my, I guess, Christian beliefs. I personally think if a woman has an abortion without my say, it still affects my judgments in the end of end. Because I had a choice. I chose to have sex with this woman, whether in this hypothetical situation it was probably unprotected. Well, obviously she's pregnant, and she is pregnant now, and she's contemplating abortion, and I didn't have a say, and she got it without me consenting or whatever, without my opinion, period. That will affect me. I personally believe that will affect me when it comes to my judgment. So my question to you is, do you not see how do I phrase this? A moral obligation to that baby when you get a girl pregnant. Do you not see a moral obligation to that baby when you get a girl pregnant? Yeah.
I'm honestly gonna say no, because I just don't have.
That's wild. Okay, that's just different then. Okay, we have different opinions.
The same belief system. And like, to me, like, if you're using the logic of your religion, dude, there are even more preemptive mandates within your religion that tells you shouldn't even have done that from the get-go.
Yes, facts.
So that's on you.
And I completely agree with you.
So, like,
the problem with that is certain mandates only affect me, whereas this mandates, and this is again where the argument kind of gets obviously back and forth, is if you believe what's inside the woman is either a human being, one alive, or just a clump of cells, or we're so divided on this issue that I don't understand why it's federally. They already, when it's done federally, case closed on the argument. That's bullshit. Clearly there's more to talk about here. And you're right.
I don't know, man. I think it was done initially for a reason. I honestly, I haven't read the original Roe versus Wade enough to have it memorized and be able to be like, oh, this was the exact same reason. And this is the most just thing that's ever been passed or anything like that. The only thing I can say is that, to me, the law, we've been running fine. I've lived my entire life with this thing in place, and I haven't really felt too much of an issue with it. So maybe I am acclimated to it, but for them to revoke it, that will definitely be oh shit, okay, that's going to reverse a lot of things.
And I might have your opinion on that regard. No, it won't. It won't change anything.
Going the way we're going, I think it's still fine. We still have certain states restricting things, and I think we're honestly running fine with the status quo of it being in place.
In your opinion, you think everything's fine?
Yeah, in my opinion.
In other people's opinion,
it's
not
in
fine.
place is fine.
And so why do we prioritize your point of view of the status quo and not other people's? I guess we could say for sake of argument, my opinion of the status quo. You think it's fine? I don't. But you're okay with the federal government saying, since you're okay, everyone's okay. That's weird.
37.
All right.
There are people that were voted into office to do this. So, I mean,
And we just trust them.
Yeah, dude. Like, I mean, that's how society works, bro.
All right, sure. We talk about this longer. I'll keep my mouth shut. Any last points, anyone, before we close out?
38.
Anything you want to say, Doc?
Nah, man. I mean, honestly, if it doesn't pass or if it gets revoked, I think the country will definitely be shook, and then that's when like a lot of divides will happen.
I do think
But
that too.
maybe most states won't actually like pop off or anything like that. And they'll just be like, cool, we're just gonna keep things the way they are. We know we can use knowing we can pull the trigger, but not doing it because we don't need to.
Yo, thanks for making it to the end. We really appreciate it and hope you all enjoyed the show.
Make sure you hit that subscribe button, that like button, and the notification bell to get notified when we post our clips.
Follow us on Twitter at PodcastFDT. Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok are all fake deep thinking. Check us out, please.
FDT. Peace, y'all.
Peace.